Okay, we're going to look at a loop, another type of loop. Okay, previously we looked at something called for loop, and the for loop was a control iteration, and the control iteration is when a set of instruction is repeated a specific number of times. So you know how many times you want to repeat something. You want to repeat once, twice, or 3 times, okay, or even 5 times. You know how many times you want to repeat. But this time, what we're going to do the other one, which is called the conditional iteration. Okay, conditional iteration is based on condition. If the condition is met, it will repeat something, or it will end repeating something. Okay, so that's the one we're going to do. And the one we're going to do on conditional iteration in Visual Basic is called a DoLoop. Okay, so a DoLoop. To do a DoLoop, you need to create conditions, and the condition we're going to create, we're going to use a variable. Okay, so how do you declare a variable in Visual Basic? Dim, and we're going to give it a variable name. We're just going to call it simply x as, and we're going to use number to set the condition. So what do we need? What data type? Integer. Okay, so we have the variable as integer. So to create the loop, simply, okay, you just type the word do, okay, and then you set the condition until, okay, let's say x equals 5. Okay, so what this will mean, okay, the loop will start here and the loop will end here. Whatever I put inside these 2 lines, okay, whatever I put inside, okay, the belly of the loop, it will be repeated again and again until x becomes 5. Okay, so if we create, for example, display something to the user. If we write console.write and just simply ask the user to enter a number, okay, and store this piece of information into the variable called x, so we can compare it afterwards. Okay, so how do we get the user to prompt user to enter something? Yes. Okay, so but we need to store it somewhere. So we say x equals console.readline. Yes. Okay, so now it will display enter a number, and the user will enter a number. Whatever the user enters, it will go inside this variable called x, and then the program will compare and see if x is equal to 5. In other words, did the user enter 5? If the user entered 5, okay, then obviously it will stop the loop, stop this. Okay, so you can say console.write, maybe something like, okay, you can enter. Okay, I'm just going to put another line to stop the user screen. Okay, so now what the program will do, it will ask the user to enter a number. If the user enters any number other than 5, it will keep repeating this. It will keep repeating this. And if the user enters 5, then it will display this line, which means the loop is finished. This line can be displayed. Okay, is that understood? Okay, let's run the program and see. Let's run the program and see if that works or not. Okay, so if I run the program, okay, and if I enter any number, let's say if I enter 12, no, enter, okay, 34, 7, 8, 9, 3, 21. It doesn't really matter what number I enter. If it's not 5, it will keep repeating. Repeat what? Repeat these 2 lines. If I can have more lines here as well, I can have like 50 lines of code here. No problem. It will repeat that. At the moment, I only have 2 lines. These 2 lines, and it keeps repeating these 2 lines. Enter a number, and it takes it, compares it, and if it's not 5, it keeps on doing the same line again. If I enter 5, what will happen? Yeah, you should display you can enter. There you go. So we displayed you can enter, which means this kind of the loop here from here to here we was repeating because the condition has met, x is equal to 5 because the user have entered 5. It cuts the loop stop, it terminates the loop, and it goes on to the next line, executes the next line, you can enter. Is that understood? Is that understood? Okay, and that's how you do loop in Visual Basic. One important thing to actually remember about do loop, unlike your for loop or your while loop, okay, that it will execute once, okay, even before it checks the condition. What do I mean by that? Let me just explain. I'm going to step over so you can see what I mean by that. So I'm going to debug and I'm going to step in, okay. Step into the program and you will see what I mean by that, okay. So now it starts the program submain, that's the beginning of the program submain, and then it declares the variable x, and it starts straight away. You can see when it hits do, it started the loop, so it gets into a loop, and now it's inside the loop, and it's going to display console.write, and you're going to display enter a number, which means he hasn't even checked, and it starts displaying this line. So you can see on the user screen, enter a number. It displayed this line, and then he will ask the user, you will prompt the user to enter a number. So he's prompting the user to enter a number. There you go. It hasn't even checked yet. Okay, it will display first part of the loop even without making any kind of checks. So now I'm going to enter 4. If I enter 4, you can see x is 4 now at the moment. So it's going to check. Okay, it says loop until x equals 4. Now it checks if is x equal to 5. It's not, because I entered 4. So it's checking. If I step in again, it will go back. Now it's gone back again. Now it's going to repeat the same thing again. So what does that mean? This means that do loop will execute the beginning of the loop at least once. Do loop will be executed at least once. Okay, that's something very important you need to remember. Okay, is that understood?